For most of cricket's history, batsmen have been the stars. Crowds celebrate centuries, scoreboards celebrate runs, but the true drama of cricket often begins with a bowler. The sound of the ball hitting the seam, the movement in the air, the fear in batsmen's eyes. Fast bowling is not just a skill. It's drama, it's theater, it's banter, it's intimidation. And over the past 50 years, cricket has witnessed some of the greatest fast bowlers the sport has ever produced. From the terrifying pace of West Indies attack in 70s and 80s to the artistry of Wasim and Waqar, to the modern era of Jimmy Anderson, Steyn, Cummins and Rawada. And now India has produced a bowler who stands comfortably among them. A bowler who dominates Test cricket, ODI and T20 cricket. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the Jasprit Bumrah. But to understand why Bumrah is so special, we must first understand the history of fast bowling itself. Hello everyone, my name is Chinmoy and along with Salaf, I welcome you to Deep Point, the place where we go beyond the scorecard to decode the stories, strategies and narratives that shape the game. Salaf, we have been trying to do this particular episode for a long time and I think that there has been no better time than now, because the kind of performance Jasprit Bumrah has been producing over the last few years and obviously the recent tournament that we had, the match winning performances again and again Bumrah produced. I think there has been no better time than this to talk about the bowlers. It's high time because we have been repeatedly celebrating the batters. Now it's time for the bowlers.
Yeah, so the basic idea about Bumrah is, there can be only very, rare fast bowlers who can get a man of the tournament award in Australia after a border Gavaskar trophy, and that too from India.
Yeah.
And along with that, the same bowler has been the man of the tournament of an ICC World T20 and was almost the man of the tournament of another version of World T20 this season. So
Yeah.
this time we saw Sanju Samson as the the man of the tournament, but it could have been given to Jasprit Bumrah also. So nobody could have questioned if Jasprit Bumrah would have been awarded. And
Yeah.
T20 is a batsman's game, and in that batsman's arena in today's cricket, which is mostly belonging to the batsman, there is one such bowler who is becoming a terror to the world and
Yeah.
India's cheat code to victory. So, of course, this guy deserves an episode, and we are here. So, yeah, so I think let's start from the beginning. That about all the fast bowlers that we have known, and especially when it comes to India. India has not been the country who has traditionally produced fast bowlers like the Sena countries or even Pakistan. So,
Hmm.
who do you think, or where do you think India's fast bowling has started when it is compared to the world class fast bowling?
Yeah, so I think we will come to India's India's bowling story a bit later, but let's focus on the mythology of fast bowling in a sense, and let's talk about where it all began. And it began in the 1970s. Two Australians were at the center of it, Dennis Lillee and Jeff Thomson. So Lillee was relentless, means he was really in terms of pace, craftsmanship, he could swing the ball and exploit the surface. So again, he was in a sense a pitch and surface agnostic bowler, but Thompson was a bit different. So his bowling was described by many batsmen as simply terrifying. So he used to bowl those hard length at a high speed, and some batsmen even say they never even saw the ball when he used to bowl. So together, Lillee and Thompson, they redefined aggression in fast bowling, and they somehow represented the Australian cricket culture, the aggressive, on your face kind of culture. But even that were overshadowed by what came next. And here I'm talking about the West Indies space revolution. And during the late 70s and 80s, the West Indies created the most feared bowling
Space
attack
battery.
in cricket history. And they did not rely on spin. They thought, why, let's go all in with
All
all the fast bowlers, and these were not just fast bowlers. I remember I saw some footages. I obviously watched Ambrose and who's the other fast bowler?
Courtney
Ambrose,
Walsh.
Courtney
Courtney
Walsh.
Walsh. Courtney Ambrose. Courtney.
So yeah, so I watched both of them live, but I could not watch the others. But all of them were legends, and the list reads like cricket royalty. And let me just read out the list. So there were Michael Holding, Andy Roberts, Joel Garner, Malcolm Marshall, and then comes the Walsh and Ambrose. Just think about this lineup and think about what happened with the batters that time. Okay, and that somehow highlight the kind of batters we had at that time, also without helmets and without any kind of protection against these bowlers. Quite terrifying. And we have to give it to the batters that time, that the kind of skills that they had to face these kinds of bowlers. So each one of these bowlers were unique, right? So Holding was called Whispering Death, and he used to bowl those hard
Bouncers.
length bouncers. Yeah, bouncers. And batters used to say they could smell the leather. And it was, means when I'm just imagining that, how terrifying that was, right? But Marshall was a bit different. He combined pace with extraordinary intelligence. So he could read the game, he could read the batters, he could read the opposition's strategies, and he was one of a kind, right? Garner bowled from a height of nearly 7 feet
6 feet.
and
He was 6 feet 8 inches tall.
6 feet 8 inches. So let's give him 7 feet. let's
Seven
think
feet.
it's 7 feet.
7 feet.
And he used to deliver Yorkers from that height,
Yes.
and that felt impossible to play
Yeah.
for many batters. Okay, very few batters could handle him properly, and these three were monsters. Then Ambrose and Walsh, they dominated these with relentless accuracy. So I still remember the length they used to bowl. All those balls used to pass the bat in this height, and also there was leg swing sometimes. So I watched few days back a footage where Sachin was facing, I think, Ambrose or Walsh. I can't remember now, but all the balls were at pitch perfect length and were coming to this height, and it was some sight to watch.
Right.
And as a bowler, I really felt good, although it was against Sachin. So for nearly 2 decades, the West Indies pace attack ruled world cricket. And yeah,
There is an bowling spell of Curtly Ambrose where he took 7 wickets for only 1 run against Australia. That
just
spell,
imagine.
oh my, yes, actually, if you just look at the spell itself, 1 run and 7 wickets, it actually talks about a lot of things. But
Yeah,
I saw the spell. I think the way the Australian batters were demolished with the swing and also the height and everything. Curtly Ambrose was also a very tall fellow. So Australian batsmen, they had with the pace, with the bounce, with the swing, with the movement, they were absolutely bamboozled. So when
yeah.
Curtly Ambrose is mentioned, I think is one such bowler who is not always taken the name of, but one of the greatest that the world of fast bowling has ever seen.
Yeah, and every young fast bowler growing up during that era wanted to be like them, and
Yes,
they were like heroes for most of the budding bowlers.
absolutely.
But if West Indies mastered intimidation, Pakistan mastered artistry. They somehow
Brilliant.
had that kind of craftsmanship, that kind of. So they were in a way beautiful bowlers. They at the heart of this revolution, that artistry and that craftsmanship, there were three extraordinary bowlers, and no, obviously no award for guessing the names. Imran Khan, Wasim Akram, and Waqar Younis. Imran Khan was not just a fast bowler, and I obviously included Imran's name in this episode, not just to think him about a premium fast bowler, but also he was a leader who transformed Pakistan's bowling culture totally. So
Absolutely.
obviously he totally transformed the overall culture of the team, but more specifically he transformed the bowling culture. But it was Akram who elevated fast bowling to an art form, and
The
he
greatest
could
left arm
greatest
seamer for all time. So
all
that's
time, no doubt.
no doubt.
So he could swing the ball both ways at high speed, even with an old ball. That's where the main artistry and craftsmanship comes in. And alongside him was Waqar.
Waqar.
Waqar perfected one of the most lethal deliveries in cricket history. So he could reverse swing the ball both ways. But let me highlight the ball that actually was the nightmare for many of the batters, was reverse swinging Yorker. So he used to clean bowl many batters repeatedly, even if the batters knew, most of the batters knew that the reverse swinging Yorker is coming, the in tipping Yorker and that banana swing is coming. Still, they could not do anything against those deliveries. And they had actually no time to react, because those were very high speed in swinging deliveries. So the eventual result is stumps shattered, and to this day many experts think that duo, Waqar and Wasim, that duo is the greatest duo of all time. Yeah, one of the greatest. But the late 1990s and early 2000 fast bowlers, real fast bowling entered a new era, and we could see many extreme fast bowlers. So Pakistan produced perhaps fastest bowler ever recorded, and we have watched Shoaib Akhtar bowling. Yeah, and he was nicknamed, and to this day we identify him as the Rawalpindi Express. Yeah, and he used to regularly cross 150 kilometers per hour, and that was quite a sight for us viewers, if the match was obviously not against India. So we still remember the back-to-back deliveries that he bowled against
Dravid and Sachin.
If you ask me one moment from cricket history and top 10 moments, I will just keep that moment in that list.
Definitely.
So he once bowled a delivery measured at 161.3 kilometer per hour, still one of the fastest in cricket history. But Australia also had their own speed machine, Brett Lee. But Australia's true weapon was not speed. It was precision, and Glenn McGrath rarely bowled above 140 kilometer per hour, but yet the accuracy was there, and the accuracy was so perfect that batsmen felt under pressure. I have not seen in my life, there are obviously many other Australian bowlers who somehow tried to replicate what McGrath used to do, but still I have not found someone like McGrath. And alongside him, there were many other greats, but
the sheer accuracy.
So, and he did that in an era where there were bowlers like Alan Donald, Sean Pollock, Chaminda Vas, Heath Streak. They all of them used to have that accuracy, but no one could reach to the level of McGrath, because McGrath was a different breed altogether. And obviously each brought their own unique style to fast bowling, and that was, I think, one of the greatest time in terms of accuracy in bowling and the line and length that the bowlers used to have. Now, the modern era, fast bowling evolved again and speed remained obviously important, but skill and adaptability became more critical, and fast bowlers represented this era. There was no one better than Dale Steyn. Steyn combined pace, swing, aggression, charisma, accuracy. If you talk about a complete bowler, a fast bowler, then Steyn is obviously there, and his strike rate in Test cricket remains one of the best among fast bowlers. And obviously, here we are talking about fast bowlers. So he was one of the greatest fast bowlers. England also produced remarkable duo in Jamie Anderson and Stuart Broad. Anderson became the greatest swing bowler of his generation. Broad had a bit shaky start. He went for 6 sixes, and we started to think that Broad is not fit for the highest level. But how he came back to the scene and how he actually mastered many skills, especially in Test cricket, he thrived in big moments and delivered excellent spells in crucial matches. And England's Test cricket success in that particular period, we can attribute that to Jimmy Anderson and Stuart Broad to a large extent. Australia also developed another generation of elite fast bowlers, and the list is very long, but let's mention some of them. Mitchell Stark, Hazelwood, and most of them are still playing. So Pat Cummins, but
Mitchell Johnson.
One name, Mitchell Johnson, and many others. That's why I'm saying there are too many names, and obviously you will forget some of the names, but let's be very honest that even if we are not taking some of the names, we have utmost respect for them and the way they have impacted the game.
Absolutely.
South Africa produced yet another superstar. Can you guess the name? The South African fast bowler of this, Kagiso Rabada, right? So, yeah. So he is another fast bowler who is very smart and very accurate and has all the skills. But something else had also changed at this particular time, and that's where this episode comes in. The format of the game has changed now, and for most of cricket's history, bowlers only had to master one format, right? Either Test cricket. After Test cricket, then came one-day internationals, and later T20 cricket. Each format demanded something completely different. If you think about Test cricket, it required endurance, strategy, patience, obviously a different set of skills. You have to set up a batter for 5 overs, 6 overs, 7 overs. Then you can trap him. I still remember one video from Mohammad Asif and how he got Sangakkara out. That was a master class. I really feel he was a magician, and he could do a lot more if that particular thing did not happen. He was one of the greatest, obviously.
That one spell against India where he dismissed Sehwag, Sachin, Lakshman.
And Lakshman, yeah.
I still have terrified moments of that spell. And Mohammad Asif, I think, what a waste. Had he not been a part of that, I think he would have been a massive legend of the fast bowling.
Yeah.
So he was a wizard. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So absolutely. I watched a video where Hasim Amla, Peterson, I think Sangakkara, A.V. de Villiers, all of them said that Mohammad Asif was the greatest bowler and most difficult bowler they have faced in their career, especially in Test cricket. The way he used to trap batters, and he was actually a very intelligent bowler, along with the sheer and very different skill set he had. He could trap batters by understanding, and even once I remember Younis Khan mentioned in one of the videos that he used to predict wickets for other bowlers also, that now this will happen, this will happen. So that shows the kind of cricketing brain that particular player had. And it's a shame what happened, and I think we as cricket lovers missed many of his spells that he could had later, but not to be, and we have to accept what happened, and there are some stories which actually ends in the middle, and we will never know what could have happened if he continued. Now, so we were talking about the different formats. So different formats demanded different skill set from bowlers. So Test cricket required endurance and strategy and patience, but in one days you needed to have control and variation. But if you talk about T20 cricket, it requires everything, plus you also have to survive as a bowler, because
Absolutely.
all the batters are trying to take you down and you have to somehow survive. Then you can obviously get the batters out, and one of the best way to get the batters to survive is to get the batters out. And very few bowlers in history have dominated all three formats, and that is where the conversation becomes very interesting, right? Because this is exactly where Jasprit Bumrah stands apart. But to understand Bumrah and his stature, we have to look back at India's bowling story. So Salah, please take us through how India's bowling has evolved and it has emerged. Few legends that we had over time, and then we will come to the Bumrah story.
So India is one such country where always the spinners have dominated the bowling. So if you look back at the time during 60s and 70s and till the early 80s, we were having mostly the spinners used to rule the bowling. We had spinners like Vinu Mankad. We had the spin quartet, Bedi, Prasanna, Chandrasekhar, and Venkat Raghavan. And thereafter, since the initial portion of late 70s and early 80s, we were having spinners. Kapil Dev was one of the prominent fast bowlers during that time. And after India's success in 83 World Cup, Kapil Dev, he emerged as a national hero. People started, in India, there was an initiation to, get, see the dreams of becoming a world-class fast bowler. After that, we have got people like Javagal Srinath, one of the most prominent figures in India's fast bowling that point of time. Srinath was a speedster also. He used to, tick close to 150. He has ticked his speeds. Thereafter, there was a time when India was getting stuck at such in some point that apart from Srinath, India was not having any other bowler who could, be an excellent fast bowler. So if you see during 2000 World Cup, Srinath already was about to announce his retirement. Saurav Ganguly, the captain, he stopped that and he said that I am having only some young pacers like Zahir and Nehra, and apart from you, there is no one who can lead the pace attack of India. So that's why he was stopped. And of course, we had the next generation ready. Zahir was one such player who became, very taste and ODI both format bowler and a very able both format bowler. Nehra was extremely talented, but Nehra's problem was Ashish Nehra was
Fitness.
extremely unfit. So he was not a bowler who could bowl long spells. That's why he could not sustain the test match cricket. He was a good limited over bowler. Ajit Agarkar was extremely inconsistent. There were times when he looked unplayable, but again there were times where he used to get hit for a lot of runs. So India
he was really skiddy.
He was steady.
He could be very deceptive, and that's why he took many wickets. I remember a time when that was a record for initial 50 wickets
50
in
wickets.
ODI, I think.
Fastest to reach 50.
The fastest to reach 50 wickets, yeah. So I used to really like Ajit Agarkar, maybe perhaps because the overall package that he was, I used to really like him, especially in ODI cricket. But he was one of the bowlers that I used to like that time. He could bowl ball an unplayable delivery, and somehow he could change the game and had that impact. So he obviously is very fresh in my memory in that sense.
Saurav Ganguly used to like him a lot. Saurav
Yeah.
Ganguly, he was a regular member when Saurav was the captain. Even later on, when the IPL started, Ajit Agarkar was a part of KKR team. Saurav being the leader, so he had a
Yeah.
very strong liking for Ajit Agarkar. So in the after that generation came, when Zahir also became the an experienced bowler, then came a good number of bowlers who were who were talented and who had potential. One is definitely Ishant Sharma, one of the figures whom to be named. He became one of the greatest fast bowlers with his his success in Australia is one such good milestone that is still there when he was young. So the way he dismissed Ricky Ponting in that entire series with his
That,
away
yeah,
movement,
yeah.
he almost made him a bunny of him. So
Mm,
another bowler who came at that point of time who had terrific potential just because of the fact that he was not having the greatest speed. Otherwise, he was brilliantly equipped with swing movements in both the directions.
Praveen.
Was Praveen Kumar. Praveen Kumar is one such bowler who had brilliant potential to
Mm,
excel in the international cricket, but because of the fact that he was
mm,
always in his and maybe is sometimes that's why he could not
mm,
excel. The same problem. Oh my God, this guy is Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. The way
mm,
he came, the way he emerged as you know, he was also another all format bowler where he could pick wickets like like nine pins. There are some spells where he has just ripped apart through a
mm.
batting lineup simply with his lateral movements in both the directions, and his
So he was our Wasim Akram in that sense. I think one of the finest swing bowlers India has produced.
finest swing bowlers, absolutely. And if we had a great swing bowler in uh, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, we had a great seam bowler in Mohammad Shami,
Yeah, yeah.
a brilliant bowler. Even today, also we say that the way he could change match all through his and with his seam variations and everything, and I think the best seam position that India ever produced so far as fast bowlers are concerned. Umesh Yadav is definitely one such speedster who
Mm,
who was hot and cold, but he has shown potential.
mm,
Jasprit Bumrah's entry happened in a very unique time. 2016, India is just after the debacle of the semi-final loss against Australia in 2015 World
mm,
Cup. He was first brought in and India was having dearth of a good fast bowler at that time. India was
mm,
trying with
mm,
too many options from the IPL and everything. And Jasprit Bumrah, who showed his skills in the IPL in the previous seasons, but people were
mm,
skeptical whether his action will be allowed in international cricket, whether the way
mm,
he produces his deliveries, whether that will be called off. So there were too many questions, and at that
mm,
moment, Bumrah had his debut in 2016 against Australia at One Day and T20 series.
mm,
First one day wicket was Steve Smith, and
mm,
first T20 wicket was David Warner.
mm,
And in that series, in both the series, Bumrah was the standout bowler. He picked
mm.
up wickets without conceding too many runs. He was the most economical, and he was the find of that tournament for India.
And how many bowlers you have seen with such a short run up?
Exactly.
I have not seen many bowlers with that kind of run off and that short a run off, but the
Hmm,
results are
hmm,
extraordinary. Yeah.
hmm.
So with that sort of run off to have that kind of an impact, I have not seen anyone else in cricket history with such a short run off and with that action and to have that kind of impact.
Yeah. So where batsman was, facing difficulty to figure him out. One is short
Mm,
run up. This guy is not very tall, so
mm,
definitely he is not going to bowl the deadly bouncers because he has not got the height. But his
mm,
release point was so unique and at that height. And when the
Hmm.
Yorkers were coming in, also the ball, there are lateral movement in his ball. So he was having his weapons very clear right from the day one. He is having lateral movement
Hmm.
first off. He is having for the death, he was having his Yorkers. And where he started deceiving the batsman more was with his slowers, where,
Yeah.
where we will be coming a little later. And let's discuss first his test entry. His test entry came
Hmm.
in South Africa, the Cape Town match, where he picked up AB de Villiers as his first wicket, and that was a pitch of a delivery. Now, before
Hmm.
that, Bumrah was considered to be only a limited over bowler, but
Hmm.
now he started showing what he can do in Test cricket.
Yeah.
Now we know that what he has been in Test cricket right now. So just if we so the greats that you have just mentioned, Marshall, Ambrose, Wasim, Steyn, all
Hmm.
of them. Now, if we just take the all the bowlers who have taken 200 plus wickets in Test cricket, Bumrah is
Hmm.
having the lowest average among all of them. So that's
Hmm.
how great a Test bowler he is
Hmm.
currently.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
He could have played a little bit more matches had he not have those injury issues.
Hmm.
Otherwise, had he played those many matches, I think he could have gone to 350 plus 400 wickets by the time.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, let's see that where he is actually becoming a brilliant bowler and more special than anyone. Number one, when Bumrah is excelling, he is sort of an equally potent partner. Every bowler that you have mentioned had a brilliant partner in them. So if we take Lillee, there was one Thomson. If we take the name of
Hmm.
Wasim, there was a
Waqar.
Waqar. If we take the name of Steyn, there was a Philander. If we take the name of
Anderson, then
Anderson,
Stuart
there is a
Broad.
Broad. Yes. Bumrah is first and foremost, he is short of a partner. Siraj,
Hmm.
yes, he's sometimes good,
Hmm.
sometimes not that consistent. But Bumrah is
Hmm.
a lone warrior when it comes
Hmm.
to fast bowling. And look at the way he has come up. Right now, you name there is no such delivery that Bumrah cannot bowl. So all the
Hmm.
great bowlers, the kind of deliveries that they have produced, if you just see right from the and with that much of a speed range. I'm coming to the speed later.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just look at the way he has developed himself. There are in swinging deliveries, there are out swinging
Hmm.
deliveries, there are seam movement deliveries, there are reverse swinging Yorkers. If you remember the delivery in which
Hmm.
Oli Pope was
Yeah.
dismissed
Yeah.
in that Vizag test where middle
Yeah. Yeah.
stump and off
Hmm.
stump were
Hmm.
the ball in which he has dismissed in that 2024 T20 final, he produced
Hmm.
a gem, an outswinger to, bowl Riza Hendricks. And then in a
Hmm.
T20, he produced a reverse swinging delivery to dismiss Marco Janssen. I think after
Hmm.
that delivery, there were so many thoughts. Like Waqar Younis came up and he said, "How is this guy managing a reverse swinging delivery in a T20 cricket?" So
Hmm.
everyone was absolutely surprised to see the way Marco Janssen was dismissed. If you
Hmm.
remember the way he has dismissed Mohammad Rizwan in Ahmedabad, that off cutter, that those cutter, he has those cutters. There is
Hmm.
another brilliant slower delivery that is right now coming in my mind where he produced his, the last minute doorknob wrist movement
Hmm.
to dismiss Sean Marsh at
Yeah. Yeah. In the
MCG in
test.
that tail ending slower Yorker that
Hmm.
trapped him LPW just in front of the stumps
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
MCG was the ground.
Hmm. Then, yeah. Yeah.
2018. So
Mm.
you just
And I think there was just before that ball, there was a conversation between Rohit and Bumrah, and they together decided
yes,
let's go for a slower.
yes. So yeah, so that is one delivery that I think
Mm,
everyone remembers. The delivery in the same Vizag test,
mm,
there was a delivery that dismissed Ben Stokes with
Yeah.
that in swing that reverse swinging
Mm,
in deeper where
mm.
after getting dismissed Ben Stokes just threw his bat and gave that expression that what should I do about this. So you name it, he has all the variations. Yes.
So I also, and we will continue this discussion, but just I want to bring in two elements. One is, now think about the kind of batters have.
Mm,
Second,
mm,
earlier there was not so rigorous analytical setup that
mm.
is now in place, and all the teams are analyzing all of your moves. Still this bowler is getting a team across the line each time, and he has plans for each batters. And
Absolutely.
I was watching an interview after this cricket. Somebody asked how you each time you come up with something more. So, and what is your message for new bowlers? He said you always have to sense the game and read the game, and you will get some new elements from it, and then try to come up with your own approach. And that's, I think that's where he is way ahead of all the bowlers, and way ahead of all the analytical setup that the teams have. Because the moment you are reading the game beyond stats and data, and somehow it's like an energy that you're soaking in, and then thinking about how can I beat them and what kind of strategies I will have. That's at a spiritual level. That's not at a very scientific and stats and data level and information level. That's something else. And to thrive as a bowler in today's day and age, where everything is being watched, and each of your moves are being analyzed multiple times, and you are an information system prof, so you know everything about how, in what ways your moves and your each of your moves and actions and everything can be analyzed. Still you are thriving at this time. That means you are a superhuman. And that's what I want to say, that we have to bring in a lot of elements that we have now in modern era, that are all the aspects that are stacked up against bowlers. Still you are thriving as a lone wolf or lone warrior, and that's where the beauty of Bumrah, and that's where the Bumrah phenomenon is being highlighted and discussed in every debates and discussions and in every forums.
The cheat code that India is following. If you look at the
Mm,
India's strategy in T20, so India's strategy has it's like more like we will hit as many runs
mm,
as possible, and
mm,
the opposition can never beat us because we are playing a match of 20 overs. The opposition is playing
mm.
for 16 overs.
16 overs. Mm,
So those four
yeah.
overs, opposition will think of surviving Bumrah. If they think of,
The
you know,
the Sunil Narayan code that KKR had,
KKR
and
has,
still have
yes,
obviously,
yes,
but the one time KKR had that cheat
KKR
code,
had that,
and
yes, yes, that cheat code.
yeah.
Mhm. So, see how Bumrah, why Bumrah is becoming so special today. As you rightly mentioned, it's a batsman world. So it's
Mm,
absolutely a batsman's world. The world is, projected in such way that we will see more fours, more sixes, and especially in formats like T20, there is no such, no such respect for any bowler. And there you are having a bowler against whom, when an opponent team is chasing 255, 56 runs, and um, the opposition is just happy by surviving, that over and play having only 6 runs. That speaks
mm,
volume. And
mm,
all there is another point that I would like to add, where Bumrah is so special. The kind of, because of his action, why people always said that it will be very difficult for him to sustain, even if not for his action. He will have fitness issue because he is producing more stress to his shoulders and his waist
mm,
because he is bowling those Yorker.
mm,
He has gone through an injury, a very, very bad injury. Back injury is a very terrible thing for bowlers. It damages
mm,
careers.
mm,
He was in rehab for 1 year. He has come back he has gained weight. If you see his
mm,
physique before the injury and
mm,
after the injury, he has had a transformation of his body, and now he has come back to be a even more deadlier bowler. And
mm,
even today, where he has that, where the other bowlers, they are afraid of bowling or trying a Yorker, either because of the accuracy or because of it will of the space that the body will generate.
mm,
He is fearless. Even today also, in the previous match against New Zealand, where he was producing those lovely slower Yorkers in the last, like,
mm,
where he was just cleaning up their batsmen in the later half of the match. If you look at those lovely slower Yorkers, where he they are dipping late, those late dipping and everything,
mm.
and they require a lot of stress to your body. He is
Yeah, yeah.
fearless. He is fearless, as you mentioned, that he has gone to that spiritual level where
Mm,
he is finding himself as as someone who is a superman, who can
mm,
generate those lovely balls even at the cost of his own body. And maybe,
mm,
like, and maybe he knows that this will this might be an end to his career if it sustains another back injury. But then also
mm,
he has become fearless, and he is just going for the kill. And
mm.
yeah, so that's so magical to see about Bumrah. Yeah.
And you think about other bowlers, so Mitchell Stark and Rabada to some extent, and many other bowlers, they sometimes skip one format to
Hmm,
be
hmm,
more effective in one format, for example, Test cricket, because
hmm, hmm,
and also they skip the franchisee cricket, they skip IPL. But Bumrah as a bowler, he is playing all the formats except in some games. Obviously, we give him the due rest that he must take. But except those few of the missed matches, he generally plays all the matches, including IPL, including T20 cricket, ODI cricket, and obviously Test cricket. So that's the kind of workload this particular man has. Still, he is performing at that supreme level, and that speaks a lot about the kind of stature and the kind of skills and kind of ability this man has, and that's why we can't compare him with other bowlers. Another point here, that the load of expectation in on his shoulders. You think about Mitchell Stark or Rabada, even if those bowlers fail, their
yes,
audience and
yes,
their
yes, yes.
fan base will not ask too many questions. But the moment
Hmm.
Bumrah fails, it's like something catastrophic has happened in India, and everyone will talk about him, and why he is not performing well, what has happened with him, and he has that Sachin level
True,
stature,
true, true.
and even more than that, and that's why. So there are many non-cricketing factors also that you have to take into consideration when you think about why he is the greatest of all time.
True, true.
Obviously, there is no doubt about that, because he is playing for a country which is cricket fanatic, right? And we consider cricket as the religion, and cricket is everything to us in a sense. So in that country, when you are the only supreme and premium fast bowler, with due respect to all the other fast bowlers, but the kind of expectation we have from him, that we have to consider that also to understand and put his brilliance into the context. We have to understand those non-cricketing issues and aspects.
And even for all grounds, also all types of grounds. If you look
Yeah.
in what type of ground he has not performed. And
Hmm.
in the Sena pitches, where definitely there are so many things for the fast bowler.
Hmm.
It's not a definitely a fast bowler of his stature will be getting wickets. I just
Hmm.
wonder sometimes the way he has succeeded on Indian pitches. I don't
Hmm.
find another fast bowler who has who has so I think he has around 19 to 20 average on Indian pitches,
Yeah, yeah.
which
Which
is
is
terrific,
incredible. Yeah,
which is
yeah.
incredible.
Incredible.
And we were mentioning that Vizag test was absolutely flat pitch
Yeah.
on. He took 6 wickets in that innings, which we are mentioning. I think I don't know, like where will you get another Bumrah? I think India, then Kohli, India will miss Bumrah once he, he says goodbye to the cricket. Yeah.
And think about, you talked about Indian pitches. Now I'm thinking about this. It's because of Bumrah that we are not missing Harbhajan and Kumble duo that much.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
he's a fast bowler that has somehow replaced a spinning duo in terms of the kind of impact he has on opposition. Just imagine that a fast bowler in Indian condition is. I'm not saying he has completely replaced the spinning duo, but at least he has, perception wise, he has replaced the impact that the spinning duo had in Test cricket. So
Definitely,
that's
definitely,
that's
definitely.
something. I think that's something.
Definitely. Yeah. So even in the last series, against South Africa, where India lost that first innings in Kolkata Test, where almost there was almost nothing for any fast bowler. There also he picked off 5 wicket. So I don't think there is there is any ground where Bumrah will not be able to.
Yeah. All right. So I think it will take ages, and it will take 2-3 days to discuss what Bumrah had. Means he is still on, and he will have another few years. But still, the kind of impact he have it will take a lot of time to discuss about that impact, and we will keep on discussing about him. But this episode we really wanted to do, and because we wanted to give that homage to these great fast bowlers and the fast bowler that we have in Bumrah, and we really feel he's the greatest of all time. And obviously, there can be many debates on that, but we are quite sure and we are quite clear in our minds. And it's not because we are Indian cricket fan, but we in general, we are cricket lovers, and we actually support all the great performances. We like and love all the performances and like all the bowlers. But if you talk about fast bowlers, we think Bumrah is the greatest of all time. And we know that there are bowlers like Wasim, Akram, Malcolm Marshall, Dale Steyn, Glenn McGrath. But modern game, as per us and the kind of cricket we are watching, feel modern game is much more demanding than ever before. 3 formats, different balls, different conditions, different strategies, the availability of data, the kind of analytics that we have nowadays, the kind of technologies that we have nowadays. This is an incredibly complex era, and Jasprit Bumrah continues to dominate, which raises a fascinating question: that are we witnessing the greatest fast bowlers of all time? And our answer is yes, but the final verdict may still take few years. But one thing is already clear: the history of fast bowling cannot be written without Jasprit Bumrah. He is the GOAT. He is the greatest of all time. With that note, let's end this episode. You were watching Deep Point. If you like what we are doing here, please subscribe to our channel, share our videos, like our videos, and love this beautiful game. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.